Hello fellow birdwatchers. Instead of our usual adventures around Brisbane, today I'm going to show you some of my favourite spots around here, Cairns. Although we're still in the same state of Queensland, Australia, there's many birds in Cairns that can only be seen here. So get ready, let's go find some birds. Let's go. Welcome to sunny and tropical Cairns. Today we'll be visiting many birdwatching hotspots, and we'll see plenty of birds along the way. We're starting here in Cairns Botanic Garden. It's less than 10 minutes drive from the city centre. Can you hear that screeching sound? It's coming from this tree. We're starting off with a beautiful one. It's the metallic starling. Those lumps of dried grass are their nests. Unlike the introduced common starling, the metallic starling are native to northeastern Australia and New Guinea. I love the red eye and the shiny plumage. Close by, we have a familiar face. It's the Australasian figbird. Except something looks different. The figbird males in southeast Queensland and many other parts of Australia have a green-grey down the front, whereas the ones here are bright yellow. Can you hear that high-pitched lorikeet-like sound? That's the call of the double-eyed fig parrot. Hopefully we get to see one later. Okay, I know this one isn't a bird, but these Cairns birdwing butterflies are just too beautiful to ignore. Just below in the garden bed, here's a bird you'll hear a lot of here. It's the orange-footed scrubfowl. It's scratching at the soil to find insects and worms. This species is also known as orange-footed megapode. Megapode meaning big feet or legs. We're currently on the northern side of the gardens. This area is gated and opens at 7:30 every day. They also offer a free birdwatching tour every week. Check out their website for details. The gardens also have a cafe, a restaurant, and plenty of plant displays, so don't forget to check those out. Off in the distance, we have some birds on the grass. Here's the straw-necked ibis. They love snacking on insects, especially grasshoppers, so they effectively provide free pest control to these gardens and farming areas. There's a white ibis right here. Unlike the straw-necked who are uncomfortable with people, the Australian white ibis has adapted to forage in urban and suburban environments. Let's make our way to the southern side of the gardens. Unlike the northern section we were just in, this area isn't gated, so it's accessible all day. If you want to visit this place early in the morning, I suggest parking at the Centenary Lakes entrance along Greenslopes Road, Edge Hill. That bird singing those deep notes is a black butcherbird. Here it is. This species only occurs in northern Queensland and Northern Territory. From far, they can easily be mistaken for pied currawongs or crows. Like the other species of butcherbird, this one sings a lot too. This pavilion is part of the Chinese Friendship Garden. It's a good vantage point for bird spotting. We've met this species a few times now. It's the Australasian darter. The name darter comes from the way it uses its sharp bill to stab its prey. There's someone lurking here. This is a Nankeen Night Heron. This one looks like it's about to pounce. It missed it. Can you hear that familiar call? It's coming from the roof. Let's see who it is. It's Mr. and Mrs. Magpie Lark, watching over their territory. They regularly sing together to let others know that this is their territory and to back away. Let's jump over to the other side of the lake. For Cairns, I think that birdwatching in the morning is the best time. The weather is still cool, and you get to see sunrises like this. I hear another familiar bird call. And here we go, up here on the right. These are rainbow bee-eaters. Australia does have a few rainbow-coloured birds. This species is fairly common, but they don't go near people like, say, rainbow lorikeets do. So you have to keep a lookout. Back on the lake, here's a welcome swallow. They can eat up to 800 insects per day. Ooh, one of my nemesis birds is up ahead. It's the little kingfisher. I've attempted to find a little kingfisher a few times in Cairns and Darwin, but I always seem to miss it. This species is a tiny 11 centimetres from the tip of the bill to the tail. It's almost 40% smaller than the forest and sacred kingfishers. That was a good bird to finish on. We're done here at the Botanic Gardens and Centenary Lakes. Now we're going to check out which bird species are at the next hotspot, the Cairns Esplanade. Let's go. This is Cairns' #1 birdwatching spot, the Esplanade. This location has had 150 bird species reported so far this year. We'll be taking the 2.5-kilometre walk to the end. You can start from either end. Both ends get different species. It takes about an hour each way, at a birdwatching pace. Let's see who's down here. Here's Australia's most widespread heron. It's the white-faced. They can be found in every state of Australia, New Zealand, and our surrounding islands. It's hard to gauge the size from this awkward angle, but remember that a black bill and legs means it's a little egret. So many sleeping Australian pelicans. Given they're slow to take off, I'm surprised they feel comfortable enough to sleep this close to the shore. Cairns has a tropical climate. It can get pretty hot, particularly in the middle of the day. There's limited shade along the Esplanade. To avoid the heat, I recommend you do this walk early morning or late afternoon. There's a few birds up in this palm tree. If you visit Cairns, you're going to become very familiar with the call of this species. This is the Torresian imperial pigeon. If you have a birdwatching field guide, it might refer to them as pied imperial pigeon. These are the birds that go, ooh. There's a lot of introduced common minor in Cairns, but that's not why we're zoomed up here. Here are some varied honeyeaters. You'll hear these all along the Esplanade. Here you can see that the birds are competing for nectar in these palm flowers. The rainbow lorikeet looks pretty happy with itself, chasing off the competition. Here's a look at the varied honeyeater's face in slow motion. Off it goes. I can see some shorebirds off in the distance. The key to identifying shorebirds is to take notice of their body type and also the size and curvature of their bills. This bird is tall with a pointed straight bill, and looking at the tail, it's a bar-tailed godwit. They say the movement of this one while it's feeding looks like a sewing machine. We've seen this species before a few times. It's the pied stilt. This one has black around the eye. That means it's still immature and hasn't reached adulthood yet. These are little terns. You can identify the adults by their pointy yellow bill with the black tip on the end. The immature birds are the same size, but have a black bill. Why are they called little terns? There's some Australian terns on the left to compare the size. This one also has a straight bill. It's dumpier than the earlier godwit. It's a great knot. Great knots have a mottled black front chest during the breeding season. You can see some of the ones here still have some left over. We know this call. It's the masked lapwing, or plover. If you're not from far north Queensland or Northern Territory, you might notice something looks a bit different. Up here, the masked lapwings have a bigger face mask and smaller black cap. Okay, I just went to get a drink and found this crew along the way. They're bushstone curlew. You might be familiar with their eerie calls at night. You know, the ones that sound like they're being murdered? We've reached the northern end of the Esplanade, but we're not done yet. Do you remember which kingfisher makes this call? Eek, eek. Drum roll, please. It's the Tahitian kingfisher, previously known as the collared kingfisher. The tide has been going out while I've been doing this walk, so now I have to walk out to see the shorebirds. The ID for this one is easy. It's the silver gull, the only gull that shows up in this region, other than the odd vagrant. Here's the grey-tailed tattler. I know you're probably thinking right now, all these shorebirds look the same. Well, you have to trust me when I say that with a bit of practice, it does become a lot easier. This is the whimbrel. They look similar to the eastern curlew, but their bill is much shorter and they have a noticeable stripe across the face and they're wearing a dark cap. These mangroves here are also home to many other species. So if you follow the mangroves back around through the park, you'll get to see a lot more. Like this bird up here, the incredibly colourful rose-crowned fruit dove. This is one of the first birds I noticed before I was a bird watcher. I was hiking and it was like, whoa, what's this colourful thing in front of me? I think my excitement might have scared it off. Okay, we're done bird watching for one day. Tomorrow morning, we're going to visit a different habitat type. Let's get going. Here we are at Cattana wetlands. This one is 20 minutes drive from the city, and it's another one of Cairns' top bird watching locations. Before heading here, you really need to bring mosquito spray. Mossies don't normally go for me, but today it's like a swarm is following me. Let's check out the crake pond first. No crakes, but we've got a great egret. You can tell this one's a great because it has the long neck with the kink in it. Next up, we have the royal spoonbill. They get the name royal from their regal-looking plumage they develop in breeding season. That call is a bird we saw earlier, the orange-footed scrub fowl. There's another noisy bird up on the right. The name of this species is a tad confusing. In Australia, we call them yellow orioles. However, internationally, that name has already been taken by the American yellow oriole. The most popular bird authorities refer to our oriole as the green oriole. Here's an iconic Australian bird, the sulphur-crested cockatoo. Cockatoos use their feet to grip objects and feed. Just like people have a preference for left or right-handedness, most cockatoos are predominantly left-footed. This reserve is named after the Cattana family, who originally owned the land and used it for sugarcane farming. In 1993, it was transformed into a conservation park. This is the boundary, so the other side looks like it's still used for farming. It's a bit hard to see this one. It's the introduced scaly-breasted munia, also known as the nutmeg finch, apparently because its patterning resembles a nutmeg seed. This next bird can be seen across all of Australia except Tasmania. The willy wagtail. I see some birds on the water. Let's check them out. Here's two green pygmy geese. Both male and female have metallic green backs. The female, in the centre here, has a white neck, whereas in the male, the neck's green around to the throat. And he's just shown up here on the left. You can only find this species in northern Australia. Okay, there's another duck here. It's the Rajah shell duck. The word Rajah comes from Hindi, which means king or prince, supposedly reflecting this duck's stately appearance. If you've spent time in Australia or New Zealand, you've most likely seen one of these. It's the little pied cormorant, in dry mode. Let's move on and try and find some more land-dwelling birds. We have to be careful with ID on this one. It's a yellow spotted honeyeater. Up here, there's 4 species that look very similar. The Lewins, yellow spotted, graceful, and cryptic. They all have different calls though. Over here we have a varied triller. I've slowed down the footage so you can get a better look. The name triller comes from the call. That one. Okay, this was a short visit to Cattana wetlands. We could spend a lot more time here, but let's head to the next spot. Welcome to Redden Island. It's 15 minutes drive from Cairns. Oh, we've got to watch out for crocs while we're here. I'll stay away from the water's edge. So I'm here to find a special fairy wren that can only be found in northern Queensland. Let's see if we can track it down. And we'll see some other birds along the way. Here's a species with a well-known call. The laughing kookaburra. Kookaburras are in the same family as the kingfishers. There's actually 2 species of kookaburra found in Cairns. This one is the laughing, the other is the blue-winged kookaburra, which looks and sounds like a crazier version of this guy. Let's continue on. Next up is the Sahul sunbird, previously known as the olive-backed sunbird. The name sunbird because of the bright colours that it gives off in the sun, and Sahul because it can be found on the land on the northern end of the Sahul continental shelf. In other words, northern Queensland and New Guinea. That's a mouthful. A red eye with a fish-shaped tail. It's the sprangled drongo. These birds are great mimics, which often confuses other birds and bird watchers alike. Got to keep moving before the sun sets. Too many distractions. Up here we have a white-breasted wood swallow. You often see groups of 10 of these birds together, perched on a tree branch or on the power lines. Just up ahead is Barrine River. And can you hear that? That's a mistletoe bird. I can hear another one. Eek, eek, eek. That's the call of this bird, the sacred kingfisher. They have a more sky blue colour here. The ones around my home region of Brisbane have a more greenish blue back. This species likes to nest in tree hollows. If none are available, they'll find a termite mound, drill a hole through, and then create their nest in there. Ah, I can hear the chitter of some fairywrens. Is it the one we're looking for, though? Yes, it is. It's the lovely fairywren. This view is not fantastic. Anyway, the male looks pretty much like a variegated or purple-backed fairywren, but this species is special because the female is as beautiful as the male. Here she is. That was a quick view, but we can still tick it off. Well, those are my favourite birdwatching spots around Cairns. I was going to end the video here, but I thought I can't finish without showing you another one of my favourite locations. Stay tuned, we're going to head south to a rainforest area in the Atherton Tablelands. Welcome to Lake Barrine. This area is 1 hour drive from Cairns. 20 minutes of that drive is pretty windy, but it's worth the visit. I've been here a few times and I've never been disappointed. Unfortunately, it's raining pretty hard at the moment, so the footage might not be fantastic, but I'll try my best. Here's the grey-headed robin. They can only be found in rainforest areas between Townsville and the Daintree. I'm surprised it's happy to stay out in the open like this. There's a few brush turkeys feeding in this area. This one's been strutting around and charging at the others to protect its territory. Up ahead, we have Lake Barrine Tea House. They open every day and serve breakfast, lunch, morning and afternoon tea. It's a good place to go after birdwatching. It's a bit too early for them to be open now, though. This one's a bit further away. Up here is another fruit dove. This time it's the wampu. The name wampu comes from their call. Oh, this is a bower strike thrush. It's come in to see what's going on. You can only see this species in this part of Queensland. This section up ahead overlooks the rainforest fringe, so it's a great place to hear and see many rainforest birds. Up in the garden, we have Maclay's honeyeater. Being a honeyeater, you'd expect most of their diet to come from nectar. However, 70% of their diet is actually from insects and spiders. Hear that call that sounds like a turbo black butcherbird? It's a chow chiller. They can only be found around this section of Australia, so try to track one down if you can. Here's another noisy one. It's the spotted catbird. Why is it called the catbird? Because its call sounds like a cat. It looks pretty much the same as the green catbird, but this one has a darker face and it has spots instead of streaks. Lake Barrine is just one birdwatching location in the Tablelands region. I could really create another full-length video for the birdwatching spots here, and another video for the Daintree, and another one for the adventures further north. Sometime in the future. For now, let's check out this rainforest. There's a lot of birds to listen out for in here. It's often pretty difficult to find birds in rainforests, but knowing the calls really helps. There's a nice collection calling now. Is the yellow-breasted boatbill. And that low cooing sound that we can hear now is a Pacific emerald dove. Okay, Okay, that imitation sounds a bit haunted, so you'll have to look up that call. You might have seen this bird in some documentaries. This is a male Victoria's riflebird. They do elaborate dance displays to try to impress the ladies. I don't think this one's in a dancing mood today, though. I'll try to find the female soon. She looks very different. This is very dark, but he is a pale yellow robin. Ah, too quick. It's hard to gauge the size here, but these kauri trees are huge. They're 45 meters tall, and it's believed that they're over 1,000 years old. Okay, it's a bit too dark in here. Let's return to the picnic area. We'll be able to actually see the birds out here. And there they are, waiting for us. Ah, here's the female Victoria's riflebird that I promised earlier. She's happy out here eating all the fruit. Across the canopy, we have a black-faced monarch. They can be found across the Australian east coast. Most of their diet consists of spiders. A lot of spider-eating birds today. Okay, this is a long one. Thanks for staying with me. For this trip, I found just over 90 bird species. You could easily spend a week in Cairns and still have more places to explore later. And that week is just for birding, not thinking of other activities like the Great Barrier Reef, Atherton, Daintree, and many other places. Thanks for joining me bird watching in Cairns. I hope this video has inspired you to come and visit yourself. If you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next month closer to Brisbane. Happy bird watching. See you next time. Bye.